he can hear us. I don't think we can hear him. Can you say something?
Yeah.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
All right, yeah. Okay.
I thought that might have been on purpose for a little bit.
All right, we live, ready to roll? Yes, sir. All right. Good morning and welcome to what I believe would be a specially called Tarrant County Commissioner Court meeting on this Tuesday, March 11th. I now call the meeting to order.
Tim O'Hare, County Judge.
Present.
Roderick Miles Jr., Commissioner Precinct 1.
Here.
Elisa Simmons, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Matt Krause, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
Manny Ramirez, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes quorum.
Thank you very much. Today's invocation will be led by Chaplain Aaron Sider, U.S. Naval Air Force Captain. Please rise for the invocation and pledges.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we come to you today, and we come to you with a grateful heart, Lord. We thank you for this great county, Tarrant County, that we get to serve, and for the people of Tarrant County that we get to serve as well as the people of Texas. Father, we pray today that, as your word says in Romans, that there is no thing under heaven, no governing authority, except for that which you have established. So, Father, we pray today that it's that authority, the great authority of heaven, that would rule and reign in this place today. I pray your grace and your favor upon our commissioners and your wisdom on our judge as they make the decisions today that you have called them and appointed them to make. We pray your grace on our great state and our country as well. We ask this all in the precious name of our Lord Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America.
and to the republic
Of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
And now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Agenda announcement.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Just a couple of quick announcements. So item A1 under the Administrator section, we're going to hold that item until after a closed session. Item Q2B, we are withdrawing that from the agenda today, and we'll take action on that at a later court meeting. And then court members, we have 4 items that will be pulled from the consent agenda today. Those are C2, K1, L18, and N as in Nancy, 4.
Thank you, sir.
You want to repeat or are you good?
No, I got those.
Okay.
All right. Brings us to Commissioners Court announcements. Do we have any announcements?
Yes. I have a couple of announcements. First, I would like to announce the event report out from our prostate cancer education screening event that we had a couple of weeks ago. We were able to screen 143 men, and of those 143 men, we found 8 to have abnormal results.
Wow.
So in essence, we had the opportunity to save 8 lives at our event. At this prostate screening event that we've done, it's a PSA screening. Historically, we've done to date about 10,000 men. We've been able to screen 10,000 men. And of that 10,000 men, I want to say about 20 to 25% of those have come back with elevated PSA scores, and we've been able to connect them to hospital resources through our partnership with Moncrief and JPS and our insurance providers. So I'm excited about the work that we're doing. We're literally saving lives, and I look forward to having more men next year. Thank you. My last announcement is I am finally going to the community. I'm hosting what I call Miles Across the County, no pun intended. Community listening sessions. So I'll be doing 2 phases of community listening sessions, and the purpose for this is to hear from the community. It doesn't make sense for me to try to create priorities that will benefit the community, and I never spend any time listening to the community. There are 3 guiding principles that guide my life. And they are from Hebrews, the 13th chapter, that says, "My brothers, be slow to speak, quick to hear, and slow to wrath. For the wrath of God does not produce the righteousness of God." And what I've done, our mission in our office is to make sure that every resident feels seen, they feel heard, and they feel valued when they're in our presence. And we will operate that way with our internal partners, with my colleagues on the court, and every staff member at the county, and our external partners. That's you, the community, because that's what you deserve. And so with these listening sessions, we'll do about 6 or 7 in the first phase, and then the second phase we'll do the same amount, and we're going to different spots in our precinct to hear from the people. And the purpose is we will take that information that we gather from the community, we will synthesize it down, and we will create 5 priorities based upon the feedback that we hear from you, what you want to see in your precinct. And then we will create a dashboard that'll be on our website, and you'll be able to look at it in real time to see our progress in the work that we're doing, ensuring that those priorities that you said were important to you are accomplished. So please go to our website, the Tarrant County website, Precinct 1, sign up to register. Because it makes no sense to have these events and nobody shows up. So we need to hear from you. We're making ourselves available to hear from you. We're coming to the community. We need the community to meet us in your neighborhood so that we can hear from you. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right,
Okay.
Any others?
Yes. This Saturday is our 2025 Kidney Wellness and Health Expo over in Precinct 2. Last year, we had probably 400 attendees. We were able to do over 100 kidney screenings for free. And so you are invited to the Arlington Sub Courthouse Saturday, March 15th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we have free lunch. Thank you.
Not an announcement, but a recognition. I'd like to congratulate the Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD WB Boswell girls high school basketball team for winning their very first 6A state championship. And also the TCU Horned Frogs women's basketball team for winning the Big 12 championship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like Tarrant County has a heck of basketball players. All good things.
And Mansfield Summit
And
won
Mansfield,
the
yes.
state title. Very cool. And Kennedale made it all the way to the state finals. So a lot of good basketball happening here for sure.
Yeah.
A sad note to pass on for any of you that don't know, Allison Bowen, the Victim Services Director for the DA's office, unexpectedly passed away after our last meeting. She was in the DA's office for 9 years, serving victims and helping advance justice in our county. Through her service, she touched many, many lives, and her colleagues described her as the rock and pillar of the victim services team. So we extend our deepest condolences to Allison's family, friends, and coworkers. Do we have any other announcements, Mr. Kraus? No? Okay. All right, now we'll move to the proclamations, resolutions, and presentations section. First resolution is a memorial resolution for the Honorable Judge L. Clifford Davis, Commissioner Miles.
Apparently, I do not have the resolution in front of me. We presented it to the family at the funeral, and I don't have the written copy in front of me. So
I move approval that we accept the proclamation.
thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to I guess it's approve the resolution. Any discussion on this item? All right, seeing none. I guess the way we did this last time, if you were in favor, we're all going to vote up here. Commissioner Kraus, if you're in favor, raise your hand immediately upon the call of the vote. If you're not in favor, I'll look and notice and then call for a no. So, all right, I think we have everybody in. All right, that would pass unanimously. Next up is a congratulatory resolution for the Fatherhood Coalition of Tarrant County and their 50th anniversary. Commissioner Malls.
Judge, I'm happy to say we do have that. And just one correction, it's not the 50th anniversary, it's the 25th anniversary.
Okay.
So I will
well,
read-
you could be doing this in preparation for their 50th anniversary.
There you go.
So, yeah.
So I'll read it into the record. Whereas in October of 2000, Workforce Solutions of Tarrant County initiated efforts to develop a community-wide initiative to promote responsible fatherhood and strengthen the role of fathers in the lives of children. And whereas Workforce Solutions invited social service organizations throughout Tarrant County to participate in a series of public forums focused on responsible fatherhood. And whereas Workforce Solutions identified a similar fatherhood initiative led by Charles Scoma, former mayor of North Richland Hills, and in the spirit of collaboration, both efforts were merged to form what is now known as the Fatherhood Coalition of Tarrant County. And whereas the Fatherhood Coalition of Tarrant County is a vibrant network of over 25 community-based social service organizations dedicated to promoting responsible fatherhood, continues to disseminate the Dad's Pocket resource guides to individuals, families, and community organizations. And whereas, according to the National Fatherhood Initiative, the Fatherhood Coalition of Tarrant County is currently the longest-running active fatherhood coalition in the state of Texas and has established the Fathers Hall of Fame to celebrate and recognize outstanding responsible fathers in Tarrant County. And whereas, in collaboration with 8 Fatherhood Coalition member organizations, Workforce Solutions was awarded a demonstration grant to implement a comprehensive fatherhood program known as FACT, Fathers and Children Together, to provide services to over 1,300 fathers and other parents, positively impacting over 3,000 children in their care. Now, therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby congratulate the Fatherhood Coalition of Tarrant County on its 25 years of service and leadership in promoting responsible fatherhood and strengthening families throughout Tarrant County and beyond. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 11th day of March, 2025.
You move to approve?
Move
Second.
to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that item? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously.
Hey, Judge, just one comment. If we have a printing error on that resolution, certain after the picture today, we can take that back and get it reprinted and we'll hand deliver it to the recipient.
No.
Is it
It's
correct on
correct
there?
on here. It
Okay,
just wasn't
perfect.
on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
We have the former mayor of North Richland Hills we want to present this to. Let's take a picture and then you can have some more.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. It's an honor for the Fatherhood Coalition to have been serving Tarrant County for the last 25 years. When we started, we weren't really sure exactly what we were going to be doing, but we knew that the issue regarding father involvement in families was very important. I had the opportunity, having served on the school board for Birdville for 6 years, to see the dysfunctional aspect of children in the homes as a result of fathers not being there. So we have been working I serve currently on the National Fatherhood Initiative Board out of Washington. When I was mayor, we were working on a national initiative for fathers. And then the Workforce Solution was also working on the issue, so we combined our efforts and started the coalition back in 2000. So we're honored to have this resolution to recognize the work that we have been doing. And I won't be here for the 50th, but I sure wish I was the 25th. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next we have a proclamation of March as Social Work Month and recognizing Tarrant County's social workers. Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you. So March is National Social Work Month, a time to honor and celebrate the very necessary impact of social workers. Tarrant County employs 84 professional social workers, and we've got 24 social work interns working under them. So today, 3 of our county social workers are here to receive this proclamation on behalf of all Tarrant County employees who work in the social work profession. Our amazing social workers representing their profession today, don't come up yet though, are Cassidy Brady Hatfield. Cassidy is an assistant court investigator in Tarrant County Probate Court 1. Darrell Walker is an assistant court investigator in Tarrant County Probate Court 2, and Kim Olmedo, Kim is a caseworker in the county's Domestic Relations Office Family Court Services. So I think all 3 of them are here today. The proclamation reads, whereas people have entered the social work profession for generations because they genuinely care and want to improve the welfare of individuals, families, and communities. And in 2025, the profession's theme is social work, compassion plus action, which recognizes that social workers are trained experts in transforming care for others into actions that bring positive results. And whereas social workers throughout history have worked to improve living conditions in our nation, pushed for Social Security, pushed for a 40-hour work week, Medicare, and a minimum wage, and have advocated for this nation to live out its true values of equal rights for all people, no matter race, sexual identity, gender expression, culture, or religion. And whereas social workers follow a code of ethics that outlines their primary mission as enhancing the well-being and basic needs of all people, particularly those who are vulnerable, oppressed, and living in poverty. And whereas the profession is one of the fastest growing in the United States, with more than 800,000 social workers expected to be employed by 2023, and social workers work in all parts of our society, protecting children, strengthening families, and creating new families through adoption. And research shows the presence of social workers in schools and hospitals improves education and health outcomes. And social workers now are helping end gun violence, offering mental health for all, and urging the adoption of immigration reforms. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as National Social Work Month in recognition of the numerous contributions of Tarrant County social workers, and call upon all citizens to celebrate and support social workers locally and nationally. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 11th day of March 2025. I move adoption of this proclamation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, Judge, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Simmons, thank you so much for bringing this resolution. I think you're exactly right. Our social workers put in a lot of time and effort. I know there's always a lot of turnover because of the demands on them and their time. And so I thank you for bringing this awareness there. I think this is a great proclamation. I just wanted to offer, and Mr. Merritt or Mr. Cradaville, if I'm out of line or out of order here, please let me know. But there's just a couple of lines in there that I think, just so we can all get on board and all support this proclamation, that maybe we could amend or take out. And so I would suggest, again, if this is in order, that maybe we, where it says, and have advocated for this nation to live out its true values of equal rights for all people, just put a period there, not necessarily need to go into everything else. Especially a couple of those terms in there are in conflict with, what Texas policy, the new administration's policy. I know we want to have and care for all people, and so I think maybe if we just put a period right there, and then down towards the bottom on the last whereas. I know where ending gun violence, adoption of immigration reforms have different meanings to different people. We could clarify that and put some other words in there, or maybe just take out those pieces, because I know, like I said, immigration reforms. Are we talking about Secretary Mayorkas in the last administration reforms? Are we talking about the Border Czar Homan's current reforms? So I just think there's things in there that people might have questions about. So talking about health outcomes, mental health are all very important that I know our county is taking a lead on. So I don't know if there's a way to amend that. If we could take out some of those pieces, I would be glad to support that proclamation today, and happy to answer any of, or have any more discussion. What do you think, that's right or wrong?
So if someone offers an amendment, they move to amend, then does there have to be a second on that?
Yes, and then
Okay.
take the
And then
motions.
the original motion, do they have to accept the amendment?
No.
No.
You would go in reverse order. If we're going to interpret that as a motion to amend, you then get a second, vote on the motion to amend, then you go to the motion that has
So
been.
somebody moves to amend. So there were a lot of things there. Is your motion to amend in the second whereas? Are you making a motion to amend in the second whereas, a comma?
Where it says for all
or a-
people, and just put a period there.
I think you probably mean a semicolon, but,
Semicolon. Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
then
right.
to end a semicolon in the last whereas paragraph, to end that at outcomes? Is that
Yes.
your motion? Okay, I'll second that. All right, we have a motion and a second. Now, further discussion on the amendment. Is that the next route?
Correct.
Okay, do we have any discussion on the amendment?
Absolutely. I am 100% not amenable to amending or editing my proclamation. That I'm 100% against that. You do a social work month proclamation and you draft it how you'd like. But this one has been approved by myself and the social workers that make up Tarrant County. So I work with them to craft the resolution like they want to see it and like I want to see it. I appreciate your input though, but I'm not open at all to editing or changing it.
And that's not her option, if I understand it correctly. The Commissioners Court can vote to put in the amendment.
It's the resolution speaking in the voice of the court. That's correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other discussion on the amendment? All right, seeing none, if you are in favor of the amendment, you would, if you're here, you would click the green button, obviously, you would raise your hand there if you're in favor of the amendment. If you're not in favor of the amendment, it should be obvious. All right. All votes are in. All right, so the amendment passes 3-2. Now do we vote on the proclamation as amended? Is that what you do now?
Correct.
Okay. And the motion's already there. There's not another motion.
Not on the table at the moment.
Okay,
There's no motion.
so the motion is now voting on the amended proclamation, right? That's what's before us. All right, any other discussion on this item?
Yes. So, before we try and force these social workers, the social work community, to come and accept something that you guys who don't work in social work have decided should be their mission, their platform, their philosophy. Before we vote on this, I would like, if they are comfortable, to know if they are willing to accept this amended resolution. I would not be if I were you guys. So you can say thank you, but no thank you, and walk the hell out of here. But this is an insult.
Just to be clear, this is in no way an insult or a swipe at our great social workers. Like I said, I very much value and appreciate everything that they do and everything they do for our community, and especially grateful for the 3 that have shown up today for Commissioner's Court. I just think we wanted to get to a place where we could all show that appreciation. I know for me it was going to be hard with the language before it was amended. So I hope the social workers in attendance in no way feel slighted or disrespected. I think we wanted to show that the entire unanimous Commissioners Court does appreciate their work, and I think now with the amended proclamation, that's something that I would definitely want to do.
So I have were you?
No, I mean, my general comments were, I think if anything is insulting or shameful, it's trying to insert politics into something honoring our social workers. I mean, they have a code of ethics, and there's 6 codes. There's 6 principles of their code of ethics, and then nowhere does it say supporting somebody's sexual identity, gender expression. That language is not in their code of ethics. So I don't know why it's in a proclamation honoring them for their service. I think Commissioner Krause's amendments were perfectly acceptable, saying that they respect the dignity of all people and work for all people. That's true. Those are true statements. So I don't understand why it's controversial as amended.
I don't understand why it's controversial as written. They have the 6 tenets, but they know what they do daily and who they work with and who their clients are and who they serve. So if that's who they want to focus on or add additional focus on in their proclamation, that is fine by me. This is insulting, it is disrespectful, and you all are making it political by pulling out a few words out of a 3-minute long proclamation that I read. You have got to respect the work they do past this, past the politics that you are inserting. So again, my question to them is, are you willing to accept the amended resolution?
So you are under no obligation to weigh in on this. None of you are signed up to speak. If you don't wish for this to move forward as amended, I mean, if you want to weigh in, I'll give you that opportunity. I think the resolution, or the proclamation, I should say, with the amendment, does exactly what Commissioners Ramirez and Krause said. It still honors your work. Ultimately, this Commissioners Court is the policy body for the Tarrant County government, but don't feel remotely obligated to answer yes or no if you want it. But if you want to, you're welcome to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons, and thank you to this Commissioner Board. My name is Darrell Walker, and as mentioned, I'm an Assistant Court Investigator for Probate Court 2. While we're still making deliberations on how do we accept the proclamation, and if we accept it, I would like to add the words from the proclamation are the words that come from my National Association of Social Work organization. It is indeed the things that we actually do here on a daily basis. We serve tens of thousands of people on an annual basis, including what Ms. Simmons just mentioned as far as supervising social work interns. These interns are non-paid volunteers for the county who last year provided over 14,000 hours of volunteer services to the citizens of Tarrant County. And so we'd just like to say thank you for even considering this to be on the agenda for today's March is National Social Work Awareness Month and Appreciation Month, and we thank you for including this on the agenda.
Thank you for what you do.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I would echo that as well. Also, something that I hold dear to my heart is the Code of Ethics. And part of the Code of Ethics is that we serve everyone. And so I think that I would like to emphasize that as we deliberate and think it over. We serve everyone whether we agree or disagree. And I think that's something that's very, very important to me. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kim Olmedo with Tarrant County Family Court Services, and I just want to let you know that I agree with my colleagues. We provide thousands of hours of work to every person in this community, again, regardless of their color, their creed, their sexual identity, or anything, and we do that without any kind of judgment. So I do appreciate your willingness to consider this, but as Cassidy said, these are words that, or Darrell, I'm sorry, these are words that came from our national association. Thank you.
And these people that you serve they're humans made by God. It doesn't matter how they identify, and it doesn't matter that those words are in this proclamation.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt the proclamation as amended. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of the adoption of the proclamation as amended? Okay, and then now we've all cast our votes here. All right, it passes 3-2. All right, is there anyone else who would like to say anything else for receiving this proclamation? You don't need to, but you're welcome to. Okay, all right, we do appreciate what you do.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up on the agenda is employee recognition. So I'm going to call out all of our 5-year employees, ask you to stand as I call your name so we can recognize you. Gracia Shelby Aguirre, Madeline Brown, Cecile Clerkley, Bernardo DeLuna, Brandon Eggins, David Elder, Reginald Gamage, Amelia Gregory, Olivia Guardiola, Kelly Jenkins, Christopher Martinez, Matthew Miller, Rochelle Neal, Humberto Orozco, Bernardo Ortiz, Juan Torres, and Kendra Williams. Thank you all very much for your 5 years. We appreciate you. Now for our 10-year employees, please stand as I call your name. Juan Castanon, Joseph Graves Jr., Jason Kucera, Elaine Langford, LaShawn McCuller, and Brianna Ramos. Thank you all very much for your 10 years. We appreciate you. All right, now for our 15-year employees, Alma Espinoza, Marvin Morton Jr., Valerie Philibert, Nara Reed, Donnie Scott, and Shannon Zellers. Thank you all very much for 15 years. We appreciate you. Now for our 20-year employees, Noemi Abalos, Kelly Andrus, Andres, Angelica Flores Cisneros, Karen Martinez, Jonathan Thomas, and Cheryl Wheeler. Thank you for 2 decades. Both of you I saw over there look too young to have been here for 20 years, so congrats to you. Now for our 25-year employees. Joanna Garvey from the tax office. Is Joanna here today? Hi, Joanna. Congratulations. Thank you very much for your 25 years. Thank you. Next, we have Jackson Wilcox from the sheriff's office. All right, Lieutenant Wilcox has been with the Sheriff's Office 25 years. He loves to play golf with his coworkers and friends. His most memorable moment, he remembers when he was being honored for 5 years of service, and remembering the ones that were honored for 25 years, thinking how old they were. And he has a very different opinion now. And what he likes the most is that Tarrant County is one huge family. Lieutenant Wilcox, thank you for your 25 years. We appreciate you very much. Next, we have Etherin Jefferson. Hello there. How are you? She is a security control specialist, graduated from Dunbar High School, attended college at Tarrant County College, has 2 kids. Now this is interesting. In fact, no one knows about her. She's actually nice and cares a lot about people. Is there some reason we wouldn't think you are? Or you seem nice. So she loves to laugh, play pool, and travel. She was a detention officer for 15 years. Her most memorable moment, she hasn't had it yet, but it will be April of 2027. So you don't have the gestation period of a whale, so that tells me that must be retirement date. Yeah, all right, excellent. And what she likes most is the retirement plan. So, Ms. Jefferson, thank you for your 25 years of service. We appreciate you. Next, we have Michelle Ortega from CSCD. Hello, how are you? She is a supervisor over the specialty courts and the transfer out unit with CSCD, born in Granada Hills, California, graduated from Keller High School, attended both Texas Tech and the University of North Texas. Which one did you like better? Yeah, all right. She has 1 daughter, 17 years old. I should have read that ahead of time, who will be attending Texas Tech in the fall. Fact no one knows about her, you are an ovarian cancer survivor. My mom had that, so outstanding. What she likes to do for fun, hang out with family, watch her daughter play volleyball, and snuggling with her pug. My kids always ask me if the next dog could be a pug. So, other job titles she has had with the county, she's worked for CSCD the entire 25 years, started out as an officer, promoted to assistant supervisor, and has been a supervisor for the last 8 years. Most memorable moment, being a part of one of the 4 sites in the country selected to participate in the evaluation and field demonstration experiment of Hawaii's Honest Opportunity Probation with Enforcement program sponsored by the National Institute of Justice. And what she likes the most about Tarrant County, the opportunity to help others and make positive changes in their lives. Michelle, thank you for your 25 years. We appreciate you. Next, we have David Mora. Is David here with us? Hi, David. David is a juvenile probation officer. He was born in Fort Worth, went to Southwest High School, and went to TCU.
No problems.
He has 2 children, James, who's a Midwestern State graduate student, and Annalise, who's a sophomore at West Texas A&M. He enjoys spending time with his family and being outdoors. He was an institutional probation officer at the Juvenile Detention Center for over 22 years before moving to the placement unit. Most memorable moment was working through the COVID pandemic and the winter storm of 2021 in the Juvenile Detention Center, which that certainly was a challenge. And his last comment is, Tarrant County has been good to me. And David, you've been good to Tarrant County. Thank you for your 25 years. We appreciate it. David must be the one that brings the donuts. So, next we have Beretta Smith. Hello, how are you, Ms. Smith? Secretary 4, you were born in Midland, Texas. And at your high school, Western Hills, went to Tarrant County College. You have one child. In fact, no one knows about you. You're a couch potato. You like to go to the movies, football games, and shoe shopping. Who do you root for in football? Football. Yeah. Anybody. Okay. Well, you gotta pick one. Yeah. All right. No other jobs with the county. And most memorable moment, I'm sure, the birth of your son. And what she likes the most is getting paid to do what she loves. Thank you very much for your 25 years. We appreciate it. Next we have Doug. Is it Ligon or Ligon? Ligon, okay. Well, hi, Doug. Tarrant County Juvenile Services Court Intake Supervisor. Born in Dallas. Went to Trinity High School. Went to UTA. 3 kids, Dylan, Lauren, and I guess 2 kids, and then Dean is his grandson. In fact, no one knows about you. Made the varsity wrestling team as a sophomore and lettered throughout high school, and he's a member of the Three Stooges fan club. Which one is your favorite? That's what I always liked. I always liked Mo. What he likes to do for fun: spend time with family, ski, and driveway happy hour. Other job titles with the county: court probation officer and JCMS assistant manager. Most memorable moment: getting a juvenile fingerprinted and the deputy telling him that an airplane just hit one of the Twin Towers. Moving into the new building in 2022. And having plants in his office that are older than the people he's hiring. So what he likes the most is working with amazing people and the friendships he's built that have lasted over 2 decades. Doug, thank you very much for your 25 years. We appreciate you. All right, next we have Tammy Ingram. Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. 25 years of service. She is a legal secretary. Born in Fort Worth. Went to Polytechnic High School in Fort Worth. Went to Tarrant County Junior College at the time. In fact, no one knows about her. She loves to do praise dance ministry and learn new signs. She would love to be more proficient in it. What she likes to do for fun: teach Sunday school to children and youth, and card ministry with your mother. Watch basketball games, tennis, watch Walker, Texas Ranger, and watch Steve Harvey on Family Feud. So if you ever watch Walker, Texas Ranger, the very first episode, the house they shoot it in is where my wife grew up. Far northwest Denton County, yeah. Other job titles she's had with the county: docket clerk, and then promoted to legal secretary. Her most memorable moment: Shirley Little, who stood 4 feet tall, aptly named, I guess, asked you one day if you would like to be a secretary. At that time, you were a docket clerk, and you quickly said yes. She told you to go take your typing test. You did. It took a minute to do. When you finally passed the test, you were so glad and eager to tell her. However, a month or 2 went by, and you thought, uh-oh, she forgot. You asked her about the job. She replied, oh, you got the job. I'm just waiting on paperwork from HR. What a relief. She finally had a full-time permanent job. Praise God. Yes, indeed. What she likes the most: enjoying her mother's cooking, eating her favorite food, Sam's Warehouse for pizza, nachos from On the Border, and pasta from Olive Garden, reading devotional books and doing puzzles, word searcher poems for senior mothers, spending time with family, friends, and her church family, and she enjoys listening to the wisdom of senior mother, reading the Bible, and praying with them. What a fulfilling life you seem to have lived, and thank you for your 25 years of service. We appreciate you very much. All right, our last 25-year recognition today, J.D. Stewart. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, sir.
Good. He's an investigator with the DA's office, born in Fort Worth. Went to Trimble Tech High School, went to Tarrant County College, 2 kids, 1 girl and 1 boy. What he likes to do for fun, he enjoys all athletic sports. And he has been a deputy constable in Precinct 5. His most memorable moment, getting hired to the DA's office 23 years ago. And what he likes the most is just meeting all the old and new friends that he has made through the years at the county. Thank you for the tough work you do. We appreciate your 25 years, Mr. Stewart. All right, we have one 30-year employee, Abigail Garcia. Are you here with us today? Okay, hello there. She works at the DA's office and worked. Are you done? Like her. Oh, you're out. Congratulations to you. Yes. Thank you for your 30 years. We appreciate you. And now we have one 35-year employee, Rosemary Garza. There, how are you? You really don't look like you would have been here 35 years. Yeah. Court manager for JP Precinct 5. El Paso born and raised until you moved to Tarrant County. Went to, is it Isleta High School?
Yes.
Okay. And attended UTEP and Tarrant County College. 1 daughter, 1 grandson, and 3 Shih Tzus who rule her kingdom, and 1 cat. What she likes to do for fun, travel, go to concerts of all types. Her best concert was seeing Adele in Las Vegas 2 years ago for her birthday. Cooking for her family while listening to music. Other job titles she has had with the county. Early voting election clerk in 1990, vital records clerk in 1990, and WIC office clerk in 90 and 91. Most memorable moment, besides the births of her daughter and grandson and fur babies, it was taking her mother for her first trip to Oahu, Hawaii for her 80th birthday 3 years ago. Very cool. And seeing her eyes light up as she took in all of Hawaii's beauty. And what she likes to do the most, her family and work family, what she likes the most, her family and work family, they keep her grounded and laughing because it keeps her young at heart. Rosemary, thank you for 35 years. Pretty incredible. Okay, do we have a motion to receive and file the employee recognition?
So moved.
We have a motion. I'll second it. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you all very much. We appreciate you. We truly do. You do a great job for Tarrant County. You are all free to head to the 4th floor reception in your honor. If you wish to do so, please make your way now. Mr. Merritt,
Sir.
you had said, if I heard it correctly, L18 off of consent, and I don't see anything past L1 on consent. Ruth, where are you?
It's M18.
Is it M?
It's M. It's under purchasing.
M is in Mary.
M is in Mary.
Okay.
I wrote down L.
It was. All right. M18.
Sorry about that, Judge.
It's all right. I got it down. My word.
Oh my gosh.
That's like lightning strike.
I was giving you grace. I said, listen, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
That was my honest. I know.
Okay, we're now going to the consent agenda. Just to clarify one thing that was said earlier, the items removed from consent are C2, K1, M18, and N4, not L18, but M18. So do we now have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, recognizing Commissioner Kraus, that's unanimous. Now A1, we're going to discuss in closed, so there's no action to take at this point. A2. So I have a question on A2. And the question I have is, if the information that we received in our packet is accurate, both Commissioner 1 and 2 are going out of town, and the GSA lodging rate is $126, and the actual lodging rate that you guys are asking for is more than 2.5 times that, $279. Why can't, and y'all can answer it, or y'all can answer it, I don't care. Why can't we find something closer to the GSA rate? If we're going to hold our staff accountable, we should hold commissioners accountable.
My understanding, that's the conference hotel.
Okay.
That's why we're there, is if it's the conference hotel.
You may not be aware, but we have a policy that we adopted probably about 2 years ago now, where we require our employees to stay at a GSA rate, approved rate, unless there's good cause or good reason not to. Other than this is where the conference is there any other reason why it's 2.5 times the GSA rate?
I didn't make the reservations, so I would have to look, or I haven't made the reservations, but I didn't research every hotel and all of that. So I don't, other than staying at the conference hotel, which is where the conference is taking place, that is it. I'm sure we could find something lesser, but either Uber, $40 each way every day, which would add to the cost.
So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to make a motion to approve all listed out-of-state travel and all items on Commissioner Precinct 1 and Commissioner Precinct 2 requests other than the hotels, and ask that you go look and bring up other options, and we can bring back the hotels at another meeting, because this seems to be at least 2.5 months away. Is my motion clear? Okay?
I believe so.
So I make that motion. So the motion is to approve everything on here that's listed, with the exception of those 2 hotels, and for y'all to go look to find something. Maybe there isn't a better option, but based on what you're saying, look for a better option as opposed to something that's 2.5 times the GSA rate. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Judge, just so I understand, that motion, if they go and they look and there really is nothing around there, or it would be a huge burden or hassle, they can come back to the court and say, look, this is the reason we need to stay here. We know it's 2.5 times or a couple of times above, but it really makes the most sense. And then at that point, we could say, oh yeah, that does make perfect sense. Let's go ahead and authorize that. Did I understand that correctly?
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. Okay, that would pass unanimously. Thank you. Now I believe we are adding C2 here from consent.
That's correct.
C2 is consideration of fiscal year 2025 appropriation adjustments. Is there a speaker on this?
That's correct,
Got
sir.
it. Okay.
Move for approval.
We have a motion to approve. I will second it. Any discussion from the court before bringing up the speaker? Okay, Joe Palmer. Is Joe Palmer present? I take it we do not have a spillover room?
I don't believe we do.
Okay. All right. If that is the right one, C2. All right, not here. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Next, we have K1 from consent. K1 also looks like pulled with a speaker.
Correct.
This is to consider an interlocal agreement between Tarrant County ME's office and Hood County for the provision of ME services. I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? All right, Nan Terry.
Good morning. I don't know how many of you have ever looked at the public webpage of the Tarrant County Medical Examiners to find autopsy reports. Let me walk you through the process. First, you have to choose which of 3 date ranges you want. Next, you enter the date of the death and the first and last name of the individual who died. Russell Quall was the first person to die in Tarrant County custody in 2024. The first page from the ME's record shows the manner of death as an accident for Mr. Quall. The cause of death is fentanyl and trazodone toxicity, and the report complete is checked. Yes, that there's a complete report, but that was a red box with white letters that states, click here to use search posts July 10th, 2024 to see the updates. You click there, enter the information again. For Mr. Quall, accident is the manner of death, cause of death is blank, and the report box says no. The no completed report. Mr. Roberts, the same thing. The manner and cause of death are complete, but the report is not complete. Mr. Roderick Johnson died on April 18th. With the manner of death as accident, cause of death as fentanyl and trazodone toxicity, the first page says the report's complete, yet the updated page says the report is not complete. Mr. Anthony Johnson died on April 21st with the manner of death as homicide, and the report is not complete on both pages. Chastity Bonner died on May 27, 2024. The initial page shows pending. The updated page gives the natural and cause of death cardiovascular disease. However, her report is not complete. McClendon Caldwell died on July 12th. His manner of death is natural with cause of death is sepsis due to diabetes. His report is also not complete. Vernon Ramsey died on December 2nd. His report is not complete. Mason Yancey died on December 27th. His results are all pending. I don't know the difference between the updated page and the original page. However, according to the available public information, the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office has not completed any reports for any deaths in custody as of noon yesterday when I checked. For that reason, I ask you not to add work to the County Medical Examiner's Office until these autopsy reports are complete for last year. Hood County should find another medical examiner. To make matters worse, there are no completed reports. In addition to no completed reports, there are no complete outside investigations for any of these deaths in 2024. Media, not Tarrant County officials, report that Vernon Ramsey and Mason Yancey's deaths will be investigated by Collin County. What about the others? What about the others outside of 24 that still don't have an outside investigation? Please, take care of Tarrant County.
All right, we have a motion and a second on this item. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. I believe we are now on M1. So take a look at M1, 2, 3, wait a minute, we have an M4. M1, 2, and 3. Any questions on M1, 2, and 3?
Move for approval.
All right, we have a motion to approve M1, 2, and 3, and a second. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, that passes unanimously. Now we have M4, where we do have several speakers. It's an annual contract for jail management services. I will move to approve.
Second.
We have by moving to approve, it's moving to reject all proposals and rebid with revised specifications. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from court members before we go to speakers? Okay, the first speaker is Julie Griffin, followed by Nan Terry.
Good morning. Julie Griffin, Precinct 1. I see that the county is going back again to contract for a for-profit jail system. We saw how well that went in Garza County, so we're back again. Let's explore the weeds behind this bland RFP request in this agenda item. To cancel RFP number 2025054 and to put it out for a rebid with revised specifications and a new title, Annual Contract for Jail Staffing Services. But behind the agenda documents, which say nothing about which staffing, which services, or which locations, we find in the Tarrant County Procurement Bids and RFPs section of the Demand Star website this 23-page document with the specifications called Statement of Work, which was issued for the initial process the Sheriff's Office now seeks to cancel and resubmit. What do we find? A comprehensive outline for a private vendor to take over our essential jail functions, jail detention and detention management for any or all of the facilities at Belknap, Green Bay, and Gold Springs, including full job descriptions for detention officers and level 1 and 2 management. According to the document, the vendor has hiring and supervision authority and provides in-service training to its employees. The detention employees hired by the vendor must be licensed with the basic training provided by TCOL. Tarrant County stations a liaison at the facility for monitoring purposes. The vendor and its staff must follow Texas laws, TCJS, and specified TCSO policies. That's it. Hiring, supervising, and training all go to the vendor. Nothing is stated about provision of medical and mental health care. Are MH&MR and JPS aware of this plan? What is the deal here? Is this the county's way of avoiding liability? Is this how we kill the lawsuits, by paying out extra taxpayer dollars to corporate managers whose job is to extract their profit off of the health, safety, and well-being of our incarcerated neighbors? Or is this some plan of expansion of jail facilities for new markets and bodies, perhaps undocumented immigrants who are our neighbors and family members? Please let us, your community and constituents, know what exactly you have in mind here and why. We have a direct responsibility to protect and provide for those individuals from our community who have been charged with crimes. Farming out this job would be an admission that we in fact failed to do so. This county should not compound its failures of care and protection by handing over its responsibilities to unaccountable third parties. Instead, be engaged in fixing the problems at the jail. Stop the deaths, stop incarcerating those with mental illness and IDD, implement policies and procedures that save lives. In short, if this is your plan, please do not go forward. Our county deserves better. Thank you.
Following Ms. Terry, we have Joe Palmer.
Good morning. I'm really into transparency. I want to be able to look at an agenda item and understand what you're really talking about. The paper agenda lists this item as an RFP number with annual contract for jail management services at the Sheriff's Office. Not really sure what jail management service is, but then if you go back to look at the statement of work, you have to go down to number 8 to determine staffing, and it's staffing that finally lists detention officers. That's what this really about. It's not jail management, it's staffing. It's detention officers. I'm glad that purchasing is requesting to change the title of the RFP to for jail staffing service instead of jail management. However, I caution you going forward to remember the public outcry with the Garza contract. You may think that having an outside contract in a Tarrant County facility is different from Garza, but I disagree. And I imagine the next time you vote on this, you'll have a lot more people in the overflow room again. It seems to me that this and future RFPs is basically privatizing the jail. Seems like a failure for the county. We can't hire and retain detention officers for our Tarrant County jails. I do not support privatization of this jail. Thank you.
Is Mr. Palmer here? All right, no Mr. Palmer. Gerald and Jackie Cox. Yeah, we got 4.
Thank you, Commissioners. I add my voice in opposition to outsourcing jail management. You all may remember that, I think it was December of 2023, when we found out that Garza Jail, where we had outsourced prisoner housing, had lost its certification from Jail Standards Commission. And was it the contractor who told us? Oh, no, it was not. It was the press who found it out for us. And, I mean, the terms and conditions of this RFP, which I've got, are that you're going to hire the person with most experience in private jail management. In Texas, there is only one entity that has done private jail management of any scale and scope, and it is MTC, the people who ran the jail in Garza. So the only people who are likely to meet the criteria for most experience are the same people who stiffed us badly on our prior outsourced contract. I don't think this is a good idea. The other thing that's problematic is that you have this temporary to permanent option that says a temporary employee working under this contract. I'm at page 3 under paragraph 7, 63157. Anyway, they're eligible for permanent placement after they've worked 520 hours. No, that's not true. They are not eligible until they have put in the required training that is included in the Texas jail standard. It's section 17.01.310, appointment of county jailer, training required. We have now put something like $61 million into building ourselves a little training facility, but nobody's getting certified as having completed our training, and that might be because they have to work 50 hours every month, or 50 hours a week, and you have to complete a training program that has many hours, and you can't take your training while you're working 50 hours a week. That'll give you a never eligible for permanent hire kind of problem. And if you are not eligible for permanent hire, then they have to just keep you on temporary until you run out your 2-year permissible temporary permit, and then you can't be hired permanently. You need to hire somebody to do your RFP who is thoroughly acquainted with Chapter 1701 of the Texas Occupations Code, because that's what tells you what you have to do to hire.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second to reject all proposals and rebid with revised specifications. Any further discussion from the court?
Chandler, can you go over what the changes are?
So basically, when the original RFP went out, there was no formal response back from any vendors that were out there that would be potentially qualified. So what purchasing and we are seeking to do is to really revise those specifications after through purchasing's approval, talking to some of those potentially interested vendors to see what we could do to make them more enticing for them to potentially be interested in bidding on.
Okay.
All right, any other questions or discussion on this item? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Next, we have items 5 and 6. Before we get to permission to take bids and RFPs, I will move to approve items M5 and 6.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve items M5 and 6. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. Passes unanimously. All right, now permission to take bids on RFPs. I'm not sure if any commissioners have questions, but I have questions on two things. The first is Adobe licenses estimated at $834,000. Can somebody explain why we spend so much money on that?
Sure, so I can help with that. So this is just a permission to take bid right now, and this is just a budget number, something that I've asked budget to do when we were going through the draft agendas, to actually do an audit of all of our licenses to ensure that everything that we are purchasing is something that we're actually using. So budget and the CIO are both engaged in that. So before any formal RFP approval comes back to the court for consideration, we will have cleaned up and make sure that we are requesting of the court to approve everything we need and nothing we don't.
Okay, that's good, but why is the number $834,000? Give me some detail on that. Do we pay every individual license? Do we have offices where everybody has an individual license we're paying for when something could be shared? Why is this so high?
I can't speak to where the number came from or why it's so high. I would let Melissa, but all those questions you just asked, whether we can get a bulk discount for number of licenses versus individuals. There's creative licenses in there for the website. So it's not just Adobe Acrobat, it's all of the Adobe suite of products that we use throughout the county for communications purposes, website purposes. So, but as far as the number goes, I'll defer to...
That came from a contract, the last contract.
Okay, Andre, you look like you're about to get out of your seat there. I guess what I'm really asking is that seems awfully high. I'm assuming the number came from something. Do we have a way to reduce that cost?
We certainly can look into that, but I can tell you that Adobe products are an integral part of a lot of the infrastructure in the county, including the maintenance of all of the websites, and it is a fairly robust product. One of the initiatives that I've started is to look at whether or not we could move into an open source environment for the provision of those services. That will take about 18 months to 2 years to complete a migration, because there's such a large number of web pages that have been developed and are historical in nature and also dynamically linked to a lot of databases, so it's a lot of migration, but it's something that we're looking at. But it is a product that is also used for workflow and for authentication of signatures, so we use it extensively. I wouldn't think it's an outrageous number, but I think it's a number that over time we can reduce by moving to products that are lower priced.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions on that one? All right. Next one I have a question on is the dishwashers. And I've never bought a commercial dishwasher, but
it's not a big standalone.
Two of them for $800,000 seems incredibly high. Say it again.
It's like an assembly type of dishwasher.
Okay.
So it's like a big assembly line. So it's not a standalone unit like you would think in a restaurant.
Okay.
So if you've ever done a tour of the jail, they have these over in the correction center, and this is literally what they use to feed 4,000 people, or wash the dishes of feeding 4,000 people a day.
At Green Bay, how many people are housed there typically?
1,500 about, I think.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on any of these items? All right, do we have a motion on item 7?
So moved.
We have a motion to grant permission to take bids and issue RFPs. We have a second. Any further discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Now, I believe we bring M18 from consent. And M18 is an annual contract for the inmate commissary banking and deposit release services. I don't have anyone signed up to speak to that. Do we have questions from the court?
Yes, I pulled this, but I spoke with Helen before coming in here, so we can
Good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I will move to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion on this? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. And now I believe that takes us to N4 from consent. We've got to figure out a better way to do this. Maybe you and I should just meet for 2 minutes before the meeting starts, so I can know everything that's getting pulled, just so I don't have to flip through a bunch of papers. Yes, sir. N4 is consideration of a memorandum of understanding between Tarrant County Sheriff's Office and 2Serve Reentry for the provision of Pathway with Purpose Reentry Program services to Tarrant County inmates. I will move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item before bringing up a speaker? All right, seeing none, Cassandra Johnson.
Good morning, team. I want to play this before I get started. It's not going to take my 3 minutes. Listen to this for me. Can you hear it? Hold on. Is the mic on? Okay. Can y'all hear that? Mm. Let's start it. Hold on. Can you hear it?
No. Do you have a speaker?
Do you have a speakerphone?
Let's see. Pause. Wait a minute.
Just put it on speaker.
There we go. There we go. Now, here we go. Listen to this.
For Mrs. Johnson, you left a message, looks like Thursday. Yes, 16th, and I was out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And when I'm out, no one does this. But anyway, so you were mentioning, you was visiting him on the 15th, and he had a headache, and you following up. Yeah, so there's nothing documented in here on the headache at all. So next time, if you're here visiting, and when the officer comes to get him, you may want to stop the officer and say, hey, he got a headache. He ain't going to tell you, but he got a headache. Because if he ain't going to tell you, then unfortunately, nobody will know. So if he only told you, then you're the only one that knows. So next time if you visit, please make sure you bring it to the officer's attention that he has a headache. Maybe he can tell the officer too, because they are called down to medical and have medical know that they reporting it. So just make sure you make those steps the next time, because if you don't tell it, unfortunately in here, nobody knows. They don't guess what's wrong with people. They don't assume. None of that. None of that with the 4,300 in here. Do they do that with anybody? Okay. All right. Thank you.
With that, I'm watching the clock. I'm going to be respectful to my 3 minutes. But when I saw Pathway with Purpose in Sheriff Rayborn's name, the jail is not his purpose. I'll continue, but I don't want to go over my 3 minutes. That's the liaison with Tarrant County Jail. That's the message you get. So stay with me. I'm not going nowhere.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Now we have board and commission appointments.
I've got one, some judge.
Okay.
I move that the Commissioners Court appoint Spencer Finch, Genevieve Friix, and Willard Ray Thomas to the Tarrant County Historical Commission.
All right, second. Any discussion on this? Okay, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously.
I have
Next.
some as well.
Okay.
I move that the court appoint Preston Patry to the Historical Commission and TIF appointments, Leon Pope to the Crowley TIF, Jabari Stoglin to the Grand Prairie TIF, Patrick Winfield to the Woodhaven TIF, and Amanda Applin to the Trinity Lakes TIF.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on that. With all of those, I won't try to repeat them. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Anybody else? Okay, so I have two for Historical Commission. I would make a motion to appoint Will Ford and Bill Perdue.
Second.
We have a motion and a second there. Any discussion on that item? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Okay, now we have a briefing item on measles. So, come on up.
Judge and Commissioners, Brad Berg, Tarrant County Public Health Director. I think it was Commissioner Simmons who requested a briefing on measles, and it's a good time for it.
Yes.
Given what's going on in West Texas. So we're going to have, again, we're going to get to hear from an expert on this, our own Chief Epidemiologist, Russ Jones. He'll present some slides, and we'll be happy to take questions after he is finished. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Hi.
So we're here to talk a little bit about measles, originally from the Low Dutch, about little blemishes or blood blisters. It's been with us for a long time, but not in this country. We've been able to avoid it for a while. However, it's making a bit of a comeback. From this slide, you can see what the current outbreak is doing in Texas. These numbers are from last Friday. They'll be updated by the State Health Department probably this afternoon. They'll be increased. But 198 cases in the outbreak, all in West Texas. When you look there, the epicenter is Gaines County. If you know where Seminole is, right across from Hobbs and Lovington, New Mexico. They've had 137 cases or so. And then the other 8 counties involved there, Yoakum, Terry, Lynn, Lubbock, Dawson, Martin, Ector, where Odessa is, and way up in the Panhandle, Dallin, where Dalhart is. That's kind of the distribution of the cases. So far, 81% are below 18, so it's affecting children. Last I heard that the median age was actually 6 years of age. And it's the result of kids who aren't vaccinated. When you look at the vaccination numbers here on the chart, 91% of those that we know vaccination status were unvaccinated. There are 5 that had at least 1 dose that have been infected, 23 hospitalized, 1 death that was reported back February 26th, and a child that was hospitalized in Lubbock that came from Gaines County. Lee County, which is right across from Gaines County where Hobbs is, they've reported 30 cases, and then last week an associated death of a man who did not seek medical attention, was found to have measles, but the actual cause of death is still open for investigation. A little bit about how it's progressing. At the end of January, 2 cases were reported out of Gaines County. The next week it was 6 cases, so we had a little bit of an increase, but then the week later it went up by 52 to 58. I don't have my right glasses on to look at my little print. And the following week, it went up another 64 to 124, 159, and then this past Friday, 198. So it's going. You can see the death there from Texas. I don't show the one from New Mexico. And that's where we are. I'll give you a little bit of history about the disease itself. This is a febrile rash illness. Before the advent of the vaccine, it was a common infection. In fact, by the time you were 13 or actually 7 years old, everyone would be assumed to have had it. And it would come and go in 3 to 4 year waves. So it starts off with a fever. That fever may start rather low, maybe 101. Then as it approaches the time where the rash breaks, it can go as high as 104 plus. It is characterized by fever rash. All cases have that. But it may also be accompanied before the rash by conjunctivitis. And if you ever see it, It's, when they have it, the eyes just almost swell shut. It's not your typical pink eye. The conjunctivitis can also cause a keratitis, an ulceration of the cornea, and a keratitis, resulting in scarring and loss of vision. Iritis occurs where the iris doesn't show or doesn't close, and so the patient may have photophobia, lights are bright. It can cause permanent vision damage. This is one of those areas and another where nutrition plays a part. The World Health Organization recommends anyone that's the case get a supplement of vitamin A. And that reduces the risk, but it doesn't prevent all cases of serious complications. But it does help with the disease. Then there's coryza, which is runny nose, calling it that because it starts with a C. We have the 3 C's, conjunctivitis, coryza, and cough. And so this, typically if you hear about a barking cough, it's usually dry, but it can become productive later if it's a bacterial infection. And it's much more severe than your regular cold. So that all occurs before rash. Usually we'll see the fever, and almost 95% will have a cough followed by the conjunctivitis. That can occur 1 to 4 days before the rash starts. Then the rash comes up. The rash is characterized by starting behind the ears around the hairline. So people like me, I don't have a hairline, it started at the top of my head. And then it goes down the face, down the head, to the torso, and then out. So it's from the head down and then to distal parts of the body. So it's characteristic. There are other rashes that we see in children every year. Hand, foot, and mouth if you have kids, grandkids. Roseola, which also have a fever. It tends to break when the rash breaks. This one, the fever will continue and sometimes can get higher the next couple of days. From there, what we're interested in is how long is the patient infectious. So they're contagious 4 days before rash, the day of rash, and 4 days afterwards for a total of 9 days. So what you do if you have a child that comes in with cold-like symptoms and a fever, ideally they're going to be sent home from school or daycare, but while they're there they could have exposed others. This particular disease is airborne. What makes it particularly infectious is the cough. And you get these particles in the air, they can stay there, usually quoted as up to 2 hours, depends on the ventilation in the room. But if you are vulnerable, if you're susceptible to the disease, and you're in the room for, let's say, an hour, there's 90% chance you'll be infected. This is the most infectious disease among people. It can literally go down the hall. I can remember at Children's Hospital in another part of Texas where a case came in, and then other cases developed down the hall. It literally moves with the air. So the other things that are important about there are the complications. The first one I have up there is ear infection, occurs about 10% of the time. And it's the result of what measles does inside the body by reducing your immunity. It literally infects the T cells, B cells, and plasma cells that give you your immunity. There is a reduction in the white blood cells in the initial part of the disease. You're susceptible to other bacterial infections, including ear infection, can lead to deafness, but you're going to get an antibiotic for that one. The big one is pneumonia. A bacterial pneumonia with some of 3 different organisms in particular. About 1 in 5 cases, especially in children, will be hospitalized with pneumonia. So it's just not just a red rash and a fever. There's a good chance you'll end up in the hospital. And in fact, that's usually the major cause of immediate deaths that occur in measles. Diarrhea and dehydration occurs about 8% of the time. Not as big of a concern in the United States where we have support, but in third world countries, major killer because the little ones just lose their electrolyte balance and succumb. Encephalitis. In the outbreak that we had here back in 2013, we had 21 cases in that outbreak here at Tarrant and Denton. We had 1 case with encephalitis, leads to possible intellectual disabilities, movement disorders, pretty serious. That occurs probably about 1 out of 1,000 cases. And I should say for immediate mortality, about 2 to 3 cases per 1,000. and most of those usually be children, but not always. Subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, you have to practice saying. That is a delayed disease for most people, older adults, about 1 in 10,000. It'll occur anywhere from 5 to 10 years later, where the infection reactivates in the brain. For small children, it's less than 6 months of age, about 1 out of 600. For between 6 and 12 months, about 1 out of 1,300. But the virus reactivates, causes a dementia. They lose learned skills. The behavior changes, and it's uniformly fatal in about 2 to 3 years. And then immune amnesia is one that was actually discovered. We've known about it. Didn't know the mechanism until about 6 years ago. But when you get measles, especially in children, for the next 5 years, there's an increased rate of mortality from other diseases compared to children who don't get measles. And that's the result of the initial infection of the immune system. It destroys certain immune memory. So it has a variety of effects. It's one of the diseases when the Europeans came to the Americas that wiped out large populations of Native Americans who had never seen the virus. All right, a little bit about preparation and response. The health department is working with community organizations, our hospitals, our clinics. We send out health alerts. We've talked about it in a few of our visits with hospitals. They're getting ready for measles. And if you see any of the news reports, Cook Children is going to be a point on that. Their service area goes out to West Texas, where the virus appears to be kind of moving as people are infected. We've talked to schools. We've sent out information for them. Anyone who deals with children. We've sent out information to daycare facilities. We hope to have a chat, if you will, video chat, question and answers with daycare in the next week or so. If we have cases, we will do a targeted vaccine type of effort. Let's say it's in a daycare. And we've had this was 12 years ago where it was in a daycare. Our nurses set up and offered vaccine. Let's say it's in another community organization. We've done this before where we'll set up and offer vaccine there for anyone who is, one, they don't know if they've been vaccinated or would like to now. If we can get to people within 3 days of exposure with a vaccination, we can possibly stop or at least lessen the severity of the illness. If we don't get to it within 3 days, and in the first generation, that'll be very uncommon to get to them in 3 days. For people who are vulnerable, small children, pregnant women, people who are immunocompromised, maybe because of treatment for something like cancer, or maybe an autoimmune disease and they're on a biologic, gamma globulin, which is an antibody shot, can be given if we get to them within 6 days. And we're talking about with some of our medical providers if they could handle doing that. Isolation quarantine is the old-fashioned way of controlling measles. If you have it, we want you to stay home. To be honest, once you get it into it, you don't want to go anywhere. The patients, in particular the kids, are described as toxic or moribund looking. They're just completely lethargic, look very, very sick. But people who are exposed, typically 10 to 12 days later will start showing symptoms. But it can be as early as 7 days, as late as 21 days. And we would like them to stay away from others. We are developing guidance on how to take care of your loved one if they get sick, what to look for when they should call maybe emergency services. And then we're also looking at setting up molecular testing at our own laboratory. Our laboratory is state supported for certain things and covers 30 counties west of us to do some more measles testing locally if we're needed. That's going to take a few weeks to get set up. But the nice thing is we don't have to transport it to Austin, wait for it and come back. But we're kind of a more high-risk area, if you will. Lubbock is already set up, so we're just getting ready. Perhaps we won't need it. There's other testing that can be done, serology, whereas blood test, it's not the best, but it does help us. And genotyping to say, okay, is this also associated with the infection, with the outbreak, and from what part of the world did it come from? So that's a bit about that. I want to bring up what has occurred It's mostly in unvaccinated children, unvaccinated people. Here in Tarrant County, our overall coverage with the vaccine in kindergarten is 91.5%. Now, ideally, 95% would prevent any outbreak. So at this level, we'll have some cases. This is county-wide. In the 7th grade, it's 97%. Now, having said that, there are pockets that are non-vaccinated at a large percentage. Now, one of them was on the news recently. It's one of our private schools. It's the lowest at 14.2%. But looking at those that are under 90%, most of them are going to be between 50 to 90. We have 21 private schools, one public school that's below 90%. And those would be particularly vulnerable if that network of cases crosses with our unvaccinated population. If it doesn't happen, there won't be a problem. If it does, then we could have many cases, depending on the population it crosses with. So that's a bit about measles. Just a quick picture of lung tissue and how it destroys it, and that's part of the bacterial infection. It's what it does, immediate damage to the lungs and then the immune system, and puts people vulnerable. Questions for us?
I have one. Russell, we've had a few folks ask, they know if you get vaccinated for measles once, you should be covered for life, but they can't remember if they've received it.
Yes.
Is there a statewide, just exclusive to Texas, I know it's difficult, or it's different in every state, is there a place they can go check?
You can go to your physician and see if they would be willing to run a blood test to see if you have antibodies against measles. It's going to cost you a bit. There is no downside to just getting another one. It's usually cheaper. So that's up to them. I will say, and I was in the generation where we got one shot, which was about 1962 to 1992. If you were in school at that time, you got one. However, that gave about a 90% to 93% effectiveness in the population. It wasn't enough. So in 1989 through 91, we had large outbreaks. I think it was 5,000 to 6,000 in this country. 2,000 of them were in Dallas, several hundred here in Tarrant. That was when we went to 2 shots. And by 2000 had eliminated endemic transmission in the United States. The 2 shots is what's recommended. So those of us at that generation that got one, the recommendation is you travel to other parts of the world where there's lots of measles, get your 2nd shot. In fact, the outbreak, compared to this small outbreak that occurred here, was a result of one person, one shot, got infected, wasn't covered well as it turns out, and started a small outbreak here. So it's okay to get a second one. Most of us, I got my first one when I was 7. But most people get it at 1 year to 15 months of age. And I don't know about you, none of us remember that.
Is that today, or is that the way it was many years ago?
It was many years ago you could have gotten it. Like I said, when I got it was because they were trying to catch up. When in I won't say what year.
If someone had it as a child, would that mean they did not get the vaccine?
Yes.
Okay. If you have had the vaccine, if you've had the vaccine, what is the percentage of people that actually get measles?
Yeah, good question. At 2 vaccines, it's affected at 97.3, so you're figuring about 2.7% of the population.
And if you've actually had measles before,
you're not going to get it again.
Okay.
I know one person that did, but it's rare. And whether it be the vaccine or the disease, it's lifelong.
If somebody were to call into our offices and ask for resources or where they could go, do we just direct them to you? Are there resources we can point them to answer any questions they might have?
Right, and so we have our public health clinics where they can go and get the vaccine and ask questions. They can call. If they have some general information. Now, if they have concerns, and we have a number of parents today who have concerns about all the vaccines their children receive, we'd recommend they talk to their primary care physician and get that additional information.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions?
Yeah. So I have the same question. So folks can come to our public health department locations and get the vaccine?
Yes. The MMR is one. It's an older vaccine now, very effective, and we carry it. As of what's happened in West Texas, CDC and the state has provided outbreak vaccine. Now, you can get the vaccine at public health clinics, and Dr. Bird may want to fill in, but generally, we have the Vaccines for Children program to cover young kids, especially if they're not immunized already. And so this vaccine's covered by health insurance. If you got insurance, you're going to be able to get it at your doctor's office. We do have, things like adult safety net if someone's not sure, and we can give them that. Or if they're insured, I believe we would still have to charge administrative costs for the insurance company. But we have it. And in the case of an outbreak, we don't charge for the people who are exposed.
All right, Dr. Bird, if there are parents on the fence about vaccinations, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Commissioner. So we never pressure anybody into taking any medical treatment. We just like to give the information that we feel is important. If they were sitting across from me in an exam room and I'm their physician, I would let them know that it was my opinion that this is a good decision to do, to give this vaccine to your children. And the reason I think so is because the safety data on it is just so good. Now, at this point, I just want to put on my public health director hat and say, it's very important for us in public health to try to reestablish trust with the public. And so it's very important to acknowledge, yes, there are risks with any medical treatment, including the MMR vaccination. A very, very tiny percent of children who take the vaccine, for example, will get a febrile seizure, but that's rare. And it's not uncommon for a person to have a sore arm, or feel crummy for a day or two, just like we all feel crummy when we get a flu shot.
You said they will get a what seizure?
I'm sorry, a febrile seizure.
What is that?
Well, it's a seizure that's brought on by a high fever.
What
and
percent?
We see that in children, and fortunately, it's limiting. So they get it. Once the seizure is under control, there are no long-term side effects for that person.
What percent might experience that seizure?
I don't have an exact percentage, but the literature says that it's rare.
Okay.
And I bring it up just because I just want to make sure we're presenting all the information. As a physician, I strongly recommend the MMR vaccine. I think it's very safe, and it is unbelievably effective. As a public health director, we are there for anybody who wants the vaccine and to request it, and we will be ready to give that to them.
And what general guidelines do you have for citizens to prevent the spread of measles? Just basic public information.
Yeah, thank you. I think Mr. Jones covered that really well. And we depend on the citizenry to be our eyes and ears because we know when a loved one gets it, or we know when we get a fever or the telltale rash. And what we ask people is, please, isolate yourself. Call your doctor's office and ask them, how should I go about getting testing? Because we prefer people get tested in a way that doesn't cause an infection to people that are waiting in the waiting room in that physician's office, for example. And so it's make sure you get tested so we know what we're dealing with, and then please isolate until we do.
And for those that don't have a doctor?
Thank you also. They are welcome to call us. Here on the screen we have a QR code. We have our phone number. We have 6 vaccination clinics around Tarrant County, and please give us a call. We'll help you get taken care of. We can also do testing at those clinics.
Thank you both. Great presentation.
All right, any other questions from the court for Mr. Jones or Dr. Bird? All right, thank you both.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, next we come to public comments. The first up is Jacqueline Johnson, and then Cassandra Johnson.
I was a little unprepared for being called first.
To Mr. Kraus and Mr. Miles, I am the mother of Anthony Johnson, Jr., who was murdered in the jail on April 21st, 2024. Yes, it's been almost a year. The others know who I am. I'm here today to speak on the arrest of the sheriff's son on 3/3/2025. Mr. O'Hara, I want to know if this is being investigated for the abuse of power, since the sheriff obviously used government resources for personal gain to get his son out of jail, also known as preferential treatment, or the new thing, DEI. I will pause for a second for your response. It was Ms. Simmons' statement on the matter that got me thinking. And I quote, "The local police department, the sheriff's office, and Tarrant County magistrates acted swiftly. And because all the systems operated symbiotically, a young man accused of several felony crimes was released from jail in less than 24 hours. He was released in 24 hours after soliciting a minor and assaulting and injuring a police officer. Why was that possible? My son was dead in less than 24 hours after arriving to Tarrant County Jail. Less than 24 hours. Let me ask another question, Mr. Ramirez, Mr. Kraus, Mr. O'Hara. You all have daughters. If that was one of your girls who he solicited, would you be okay with the fact that he was already back in the public? The fact that Wayborn did not want his son to spend 1 hour in Tarrant County Jail should speak volumes. My son was also mentally disabled. Unlike Wayborn's son, my son put his life on the line for this country as a Marine and was treated worse. Show the video. My son was under the care of MHMR. Prior to arrival at the jail, Mr. Wayborn stated that his son has all of his mental issues. As was he ever evaluated by MHMR? My son was still murdered after we followed all your protocols. Mr. Ramirez, where are the body cameras? For the jailers, and also they need it for the sheriff deputies as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cassandra Johnson. Following Cassandra Johnson, we have Janelle Johnson.
I want to start out by saying Joshua 1:9. I'm not going to read it because we only have 3 minutes here. But I'm the mother of Traylon Wormley, who lost his life inside of Green Bay Jail on July the 20th, 2022. That's 7 days before his court date. I'll follow up with the rest later. I want you to know that on March the 3rd, when I saw that Wayborn's son, mental ill, got arrested and didn't stay in the jail a day, didn't make it to Tarrant County. I look at my son and say, wow, that's a hero. Because it was March the 3rd, he was arrested on January the 25th, taken out of his bed with a monitor on his leg that I requested to keep up with him. He never took it off. Never took the monitor off. But he had brain injury and many other disabilities. He was on a bond probation. Mental ill on a bond probation, who do they get involved? And I still was clocking in every 2 weeks, 100 hours. Never missing a beat with him. To know that March the 3rd, after he was in jail, January the 25th, with all the illness, special doctors he had, March the 3rd, we go in court and they denied a bond. Said he had to sit in there until his hearing come. How many did they let free? I'm gonna continue. It hurts. It hurts. But this is not for Wayborn anymore. Pathway to purpose is what I get. I'm listening to the terms. Pathway to purpose. I'm standing in the gap for him. I want him to find his new purpose. He has some family members out here. Tarrant County is not it. It's not it. So for the fans that he have that's supporting him, the raises he's being given, y'all killing him. He have a purpose, and I'm gonna believe in it, but it's not here.
Following Janelle Johnson, we have Terry Roach.
Well, residents of Tarrant County, like I said, the more the commissioners resist and avoid doing right by our family, the more truth comes out. Sheriff Wayborn's recent actions of his son shows why I've been coming here for almost a year, to reveal that my brother was killed in that jail, and that the sheriff and 4 of these commissioners are not doing anything about it. Even the old sheriff knows the likelihood of his son surviving that jail, especially with the charge his son had, because you guys just killed the guy who was arrested on September 10th with similar charges. All you guys do is contradict yourself and then police how the truth comes out. And you guys are killing people behind it. The time and consideration of detail you take to make words not included in a proclamation, Mr. Krause, I wish you would take immediate action on leadership, but you guys refuse to do that. And you also prove that, or you haven't proved the exceptional job that Wayborn has claimed. You haven't shown the video. You guys sit here and say that the things that are going on in Tarrant County, and yet the one evidence that provides what's going on, you guys won't even show it. But look at what you guys are standing behind them. And look at what your leader is standing behind of. And yet every time I come up here, new truths get revealed. Keep doing wrong by my family. And now we see Wayborn skeletons. I wonder who other skeletons gonna be coming out.
Thank you.
Following Mr. Roach, we have Carla Palomares.
First of all, it's nearly 2 hours waiting for public comments. We respect the public. You put the option to speak first.
Yes.
It's great to honor employees, but we don't have what's something that no one knows about you. That's for the reception that you have later. I'd like to start by honoring a great man, a true Texan who exemplifies Texas values. Truth be told, we're not the only state who claims him. He grew up a stone's throw inside the New Mexico border. He grew up working on a ranch where hard work was daily life, instilling him the values that we honor today. His destiny, however, was not in the ranch. In fact, he came to work in Fort Worth, DFW. While his job put him in front of the cameras, he certainly was no actor, far from it. In fact, the public counted on him to be truthful, even when the truth was hard to hear. So I hope you will all join me in wishing a happy birthday to El Paso's own Sam Donaldson, born 411 years ago today. Mr. Donaldson wrote a great book, Hold On, Mr. President. In the book, he tells a story about a pesky teacher, I'm one of those, who confronts him at the White House on a tour and says, you know, you're always confrontational and argumentative with the president. Same words that Judge O'Hare said, I won't meet with you because you're confrontational and argumentative. You bet I am. I'm also truthful. And Donaldson's response was, that relentless pursuit of truth, that's what our republic's all about. And Reagan, for his part, could give and take with the best of them, at least for most of his presidency. Sheriff Wayborn not here, but I imagine Sam Donaldson's story resonates with you, and I hope it inspires you to cut the cow pies. You can say cow pies here? Gotcha. Because when you turn tail and skedaddle before tough questions, that's bad. When instead of facing the challenges, you make a video from your safe space and claim your critics are spreading misinformation, don't back that up, that's embarrassing. But when with a straight face, our sheriff says, we don't have that body camera, maybe in the future, maybe next year, that's absolutely shameful. That's misinformation, that's acting, that's passing the buck, because everyone knows here that body cameras are the most important tool for providing truth, accountability, transparency. Of course, Sheriff Wayborn is going to see the body camera in his son's Serious crimes. How long did you spend in jail, did you say? I spent 48 hours in jail for no crime. Body cameras are the reason I'm not in jail right now. So I'm running out of time. What is the reason for the 3:45 a.m. text to me telling me not to show up at court? Judge O'Hare, you interrupted me last time. Let's hear an answer. What's the reason? That's the answer. There is no answer. Carolina Rodriguez, remember her? She got a face slammed to the ground. She snuck into an office, used a computer to send out a note. She got arrested for that. Someone said at 3:47 to me, nothing's going to happen.
Thank you. Following Ms. Palomares, we have Nan Terry.
My name is Carla Palomares, a resident of Precinct 4. I've been attending these meetings before any of you were elected to sit here. I've been calling for accountability for our sheriff since before any of you were elected to sit here. So I just want to ground you all in the truth that Bill Waybourne has been failing us as a leader since before any of you were elected to sit here. 3 of you have been here for over 2 years with fresh eyes, yet only one person on this court has been able to identify the problem like we have and cared enough to try to do something about it. This court has the power to fire this sheriff. I would like to hear from your own lips why you, Tim, and Manny still refuse to acknowledge Waybourne is the problem. We need and can find a better sheriff to serve Tarrant County. Each of you sitting on this dais should be demanding that he resign or pushing to fire him and investigate his conduct over the entirety of his tenure since 2017. On February 19th, after the last Commissioners Court meeting, Bill Waybourne took to county's social media platforms to invalidate and discredit the community members that spoke up about the injustice that stole Christopher Loyal's life. I don't pay taxes to sit here and see it be weaponized against me or my neighbors. I pay taxes to trust in competent leaders to do the right thing. The video that he posted was disgusting, and he should be censored for using our county resources to say that nobody, the public, knew what they were talking about. Really, the families have been directly impacted by the deaths under his watch, have no idea what they're talking about. But he's also inviting people to drop in and talk to him to get clarity and find out what we were talking about. Why doesn't he drop in here and meet us where we are? We may not have a video for Christopher, but his family deserves justice. We do have a video for Anthony, and it'll be almost 1 year next month that it's been hidden from the public and justice denied to the Johnson family. Release the video now and fire Waybourne.
Next, we have Nan Terry.
I'll pass.
Okay. Next, we have Joe Palmer. Following Mr. Palmer, we have Bishop Kirkland.
Thank you, County Judge, member, commissioners. I came to this meeting optimistic. I thought I would hear some revelations about improvements and protocols at the jail following the deaths. I have not heard anything. I got here a little bit late. I remain optimistic. So, didn't get that fulfilled. My reason for coming now is to magnify what was brought to my attention, which is evidently the Office of the Attorney General was not notified of the death that occurred in custody on February 8th. Texas Code of Criminal Procedure 49.18b reads, if a person incarcerated in a jail, correctional facility, or state juvenile facility dies, the director of the facility in which the person incarcerated shall investigate the death and file a written report of the cause of death with the Attorney General no later than the 30th day after the date on which the person in custody died. The director shall make a good faith effort to obtain all facts relevant to the death and include those facts in the report. If that report has not been filed, and the reason the person who told this to me believes that it was not filed, was not coming up on the database. They searched and it's not there. The Texas Commission on Jail Standards has been notified, and they do have record of that death. So it was mentioned that Sheriff Waybourne left the last Commissioner Court meeting, went to his office, and made a special video for us. And I think that instead of spending time on videos, we really just need to focus on following the law. Commissioners and the county judge, the county officials have been trusted with law enforcement and advancing the law. And Judge, you said at a recent meeting you're going to fight like the Dickens to retain all of the statutory authority that's available to you. That authority is based on trust. And it's a Class B misdemeanor to fail to file that report. And an example of some Class B misdemeanors, some forms of theft, under $750 theft, possession of marijuana, prostitution, criminal recklessness, failure to pay child support, disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, DUI, criminal mischief. So if I was, if I got a warrant for me for any of these things, I would be thrown in jail, might get my skull thumped in. The last several months of deaths and these meetings served me as a reminder that government doesn't care about the effect of their policies on the people subject to them, only that their policies are followed by us. The concept of self-reflection and accountability dies on a hill of paperwork here in Tarrant County. The closest thing to an acknowledgement of failure is we don't have the money or manpower. I want you to divert funding and get body cams now.
Thank you. Bishop Kirkland.
The office of sheriff, chief of police, commissioner should be one of the most respected offices of any city. There are some great lawmen in this country's history. Pat Garrett, who killed Billy the Kid, Wyatt Earp, who was famous for the OK Corral shootout, and Bat Masterson, the real sheriff of Dodge City. On the dark side, we have Bill O'Connor, who was the most racist commissioner in U.S. history. Sheriff Mickey Stein in Kentucky recently shot the judge in his own chamber. And we have Sheriff Wayborn, who's laid his feet because of his white privilege and his double standards when he got Junior out of judge. Case MAG 4361832, resistant search or transport. Case MAG 4361833, assault against a police officer or judge. Case MAG 4361834, solicitation of prostitution of a person under 18 years of age. Veteran Marine Anthony Johnson's only crime, 2 crimes were: 1, being BMIJ, being a black male in jail, and having a manic episode. If Mr. and Mrs. Johnson were white and privileged, Anthony Johnson would be alive. President Trump wants to ban CRT. The governor and Republicans want to bamboozle our children. Instead of talking about slavery, want to call it voluntary relocation. Our country has some great history, like my favorite, the Boston Tea Party, the Act of Rebellion. And then history like Crispus Attucks not only was the first Negro to die in the Revolutionary War, but was the first person to shed blood in the name of this country. We have some ugly history too, which I won't go into. But my village is asking this body to initiate the action of removing Sheriff William Wayborn Sr. under Section 87.001, Acts 1987 of the Senate Legislation, Chapter 149, Section 1, which is effective September 1st, 1987. Please quit telling us there's nothing you can do to an elected official. That's caca.
Thank you.
All right, we now move to announcements or comments from the court members. Any announcements or comments? Mr. Roach, my chief of staff, looked for you this morning. You weren't here yet.
I was here.
This is not your time to talk. This is my time to talk. So she reached out, looked out for you. I came in here and looked for you a couple of different times. She has an update for you from information that we have received on this morning from the county administrator's office. Okay, this now brings us to, the court will now recess the open session and proceed to closed session to discuss items exempt under sections 551071, 072, 074, 076, 087, and 0725 of the Texas Government Code. We will begin the executive session at exactly 12:15. We are now in recess.
Who is this person?
This is 10A1.
Correct.
Okay. 10A1. Okay. All right, we are back from executive session. The only item where possible action will be taken today is item 10A1 regarding probate court number 1.
Judge, I'd make a motion that this court accepts the resignation of Judge Chris Ponder at the effective date of March 21st.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, that passes unanimously. Any other motions?
I'd also make a motion that this court appoint Associate Judge Patricia Cole to fill that vacancy effective March 22nd.
I will second that. Any discussion there? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes. All right, I believe that's an abstain. Is that right? Okay, I've never seen that one before. All right, so it's so the vote is 4 in favor of the appointment of Patricia Cole to be the new probate number 1 court judge. 1 abstention. All right, and that is all we have. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. We are officially adjourned.